Hope everybody is in front of your systems and mobile phones. A very good afternoon, everybody. Hope I'm audible. So we'll just get started with the today's class. As we've discussed, we'll do a constructors and every day. The entire course content is split into different modules and each module has its own importance. So कंटेंट अगर देखते हैं तो हमारे जो एग्जामिनेशन के लिए ये कंटेंट मॉड्यूल्स में डिवाइड कर रखा है ताकि कौन सा मॉड्यूल ज़्यादा वेटेज है कौन सा मॉड्यूल कम वेटेज है वो क्लियरली यहाँ पे बताया जा रहा है एंड हमको ये सर्टिफिकेशन लेने के लिए आई मीन टू गेट दिस सर्टिफिकेट यू शुड हैव ए मिनिमम स्कोर ऑफ 70%. अगर आपको ये सर्टिफिकेट मिलना है तो आपको 75% सॉरी 70% लाना ही पड़ेगा. So once we get into the core aspects, so we have planned for discussing on constructs today. एक प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज में कंस्ट्रक्ट्स क्या होते हैं? एक प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज में प्रोग्राम लिखने के लिए जो भी यूज करते हैं उनको हम लोग कंस्ट्रक्ट्स बोलते हैं. So whatever that we use it in writing a program using a programming language is called constructs. I repeat, whatever the kind of keywords or any statements that we write, everything that is forming a program is called all those parts are called constructs. I repeat, जितने भी हम लोग कीवर्ड्स या डेटा टाइप्स या जो भी हम लोग यूज करके अपना प्रोग्राम लिखते हैं उनको कंस्ट्रक्टर्स कहलाते हैं. सो अभी हम लोग देखते हैं कौन कौन से कंस्ट्रक्टर्स हमारे प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज में होते हैं. सो वॉट एवर यू कुड सी इट ऑन माई स्क्रीन whatever you could see it on my screen now, those are called constructs of your programming language, like data types, keywords, literals, methods, operators, and whatever that you put it onto your screen in a program is called your construct. I repeat, व्हाट जितने भी हम लोग हमारे प्रोग्राम में लिखने के लिए जितने भी वर्ड्स या स्टेटमेंट्स डेटा टाइप्स कीवर्ड्स लिटरल्स जितने भी हम लोग यूज करते हैं उन सबको हम लोग कंस्ट्रक्ट्स कहते हैं. जितना हम लोग ने कल तक सीखी है लाइक डेटा टाइप्स और लिटरल्स दैट वी हैव सीन कीवर्ड्स दैट वी हैव सीन ये सब कुछ क्या होते हैं कंस्ट्रक्ट्स कहलाते हैं. इनको यूज करके हम लोग अपना प्रोग्राम लिखते हैं. सो वॉट एवर वी हैव सीन टिल yesterday और even today, all of them are called constructs. We these with the help of these things we write our own programs. So these constituents are called constructs of a programming language. Of all of these constructs we see very important statements, that is how you want to run your program, how you want to see your flow of your program, how the data is flowing in your program. All that is maintained by something called your control statements. आई रिपीट, जितने भी यहाँ पे हमारे कंस्ट्रक्ट्स है उन कंस्ट्रक्ट्स में कंट्रोल स्टेटमेंट्स को बहुत कंट्रोल स्टेटमेंट्स जो होते हैं वो बहुत महत्वपूर्ण होते हैं. ये इसलिए होते हैं क्योंकि यहाँ पे जो डेटा हमारे प्रोग्राम में कहाँ से कहाँ जा रहा है कैसे बदल रहा है ये सब कुछ समझने के लिए ये कंट्रोल स्टेटमेंट्स का यूज होता है. सो मैं फिर से बता रहा हूँ, these control statements are having a prior importance in these constructs because these will allow us to understand how the data is changing in our program, how the data is flowing in our program. All that is maintained with the help of these control statements. Now, once we look at these control statements are categorized into two. One is conditional statements and two is looping statements. I repeat, ये जितने भी हमारे कंट्रोल स्टेटमेंट्स होते हैं वो कंट्रोल स्टेटमेंट्स दो तरीके के होते हैं. एक होता है कंडीशनल स्टेटमेंट, दूसरा होता है लूपिंग स्टेटमेंट. अभी हम लोग पहले कंडीशनल स्टेटमेंट देखते हैं. तो कंडीशनल स्टेटमेंट में देर आर फोर कैटेगरीज ऑफ स्टेटमेंट्स. यू हैव फोर कैटेगरीज ऑफ स्टेटमेंट्स अवेलेबल इन योर conditional control statements. Those four statements are if else, if else if and switch. And as per the Oracle website, as per the Oracle website, if statement is called if then statement. If at all you look at this first statement, if statement, as per Oracle, we say if then statement, which means if there is a condition, if that condition is true, then what is that you wanted to do? As you are using then, we write it as if then statement. मैं फिर से रिपीट कर रहा हूं, हमारे कंस्ट्रक्टर्स में दो तरह के कंस्ट्रक्टर सॉरी हमारे कंस्ट्रक्ट्स में दो तरीके के कंस्ट्रक्ट्स होते हैं. एक होता है कंडीशनल स्टेटमेंट, दूसरा होता है हमारा दूसरा होता है हमारा लूपिंग स्टेटमेंट. ये कंडीशन कंट्रोल स्टेटमेंट्स में क्या होता है, हम लोग कुछ कंडीशन देके वो कंडीशन के हिसाब से हमारा प्रोग्राम एग्जीक्यूट करते हैं. यहाँ पे चार तरीके के स्टेटमेंट्स है. वो इफ स्टेटमेंट है, इफ एल्स स्टेटमेंट है, इफ एल्स इफ स्टेटमेंट है और स्विच स्टेटमेंट है. लेकिन ऑरेकल वेबसाइट में अगर हम लोग देखते हैं तो यही इफ स्टेटमेंट को इफ देन स्टेटमेंट कहलाते हैं. ये इफ देन स्टेटमेंट इसलिए कहते हैं कि जब इफ स्टेटमेंट में अगर कुछ कंडीशन देते हैं, इफ स्टेटमेंट में अगर कुछ कंडीशन देते हैं, अगर वो कंडीशन सही हो जाता है तो वो अपना जो कोड देते हैं वो कोड एग्जीक्यूट होता है. सो इस वजह से हम लोग इसको कहलाते हैं इफ देन स्टेटमेंट. Similarly, whenever you are going with if else statement, if then else statement. Similarly, if then else then if statement. So we use something called then in between. So यहाँ पे अगर हम लोग देखते हैं तो if के लिए जैसा हम लोग then यूज कर रहे थे, similarly if else के लिए भी if then else statements लिखते हैं. Similarly अगर if else if statement अगर देखते हैं तो यहाँ पे भी if then else then if statement कहलाते हैं. सो इसको समझने के लिए, इन सब चीजों को समझने के लिए हम लोग एक छोटा सा फ्लो देखते हुए हम लोग सीखते हैं. सो टू अंडरस्टैंड ऑल दिस कंट्रोल स्टेटमेंट्स वी सी एवरीथिंग विद अ काइंड ऑफ ए फ्लो और ए प्रोग्राम. So we'll now look at if statement. If statement is nothing but a statement which validates a condition, and if the condition is true then it will execute the block. जैसा यहाँ पे लिख रहे हैं if condition, अगर वो condition अगर ट्रू निकलता है तो वो स्टेटमेंट एग्जीक्यूट होता है. वो जो ब्लॉक दिख रहा है, जो ओपन पैरेंथेसिस और क्लोज पैरेंथेसिस के बीच में जो कोड होता है वो कोड एग्जीक्यूट होता है. सो आई रिपीट, whenever you have this particular condition being executed, if the condition is true, then the code between the open parenthesis and close parenthesis will be executed. If it is false, then immediately it will stop your loop there. It will stop your statement execution there. With that, it gets finished. So if at all you look at, if the condition is true, then it will execute the block of code, which is block is nothing but from the open parenthesis to close parenthesis. If at all your condition is false, then it will not do anything. It will just stop working. So that's your if statement. अगर if statement को देखते हैं तो वो कंडीशन चेक करेगा. अगर वो कंडीशन ट्रू बनता है, यानी अगर वो कंडीशन सही होता है, तो वो कोड को एग्जीक्यूट करता है जो ओपन पैरेंथेसिस और क्लोज पैरेंथेसिस के बीच में जो कोड होता है उसको एग्जीक्यूट करता है. सो जब भी हमारा ये कंडीशन फॉल्स होता है, जब भी हमारा कंडीशन जो हम लोग कंडीशन दे रहे हैं इफ स्टेटमेंट में वो फॉल्स होता है, वो ऑटोमेटिकली कोड एग्जीक्यूट करना स्टॉप कर देता है. यानी कि उसके बाद अगर कोड कुछ नहीं लिखते हैं तो वहां से हमारा कोड खत्म हो जाता है. So that's your if statement. Similarly, we have something called if else statement. In this if else statement, अगर हम लोग कुछ कंडीशन अगर लिखते हैं, इफ कंडीशन में इफ में अगर कुछ कंडीशन देते हैं, अगर वो कंडीशन ट्रू होता है तो वो इफ ब्लॉक को एग्जीक्यूट करता है। जो फर्स्ट ब्लॉक मेरे स्क्रीन पे दिख रहा है वो इफ ब्लॉक एग्जीक्यूट करता है। अगर वो कंडीशन जो हम लोग दे रहे हैं इफ स्टेटमेंट में अगर वो गलत होता है यानी कि फॉल्स होता है देन एल्स ब्लॉक एग्जीक्यूट होता है। एल्स ब्लॉक वो ब्लॉक है जो एल्स के बाद ओपन पैरेंथेसिस से क्लोज पैरेंथेसिस तक जो होता है वो हमारा एल्स ब्लॉक होता है। मैं फिर से रिपीट कर रहा हूँ, the entire if else statement is talking about a condition that is given in if statement. For the if statement, if the condition is true, then it will execute the if block. If the condition given in if statement is false, then it will execute the else block. Else block is nothing but a block which starts after the keyword called else. Once after the keyword else, you will have an open parenthesis and close parenthesis. Whatever the statements that you have it between open and close parenthesis after else is called else block. Now, whenever your condition is false, whenever the condition given in if statement is false, then it will execute something called your else block. मैं फिर से पूरा रिपीट कर रहा हूं, ये जो हमारा इफ एल्स स्टेटमेंट है वो इफ में जो कंडीशन देते हैं उसके हिसाब से काम करता है। अगर इफ में अगर कंडीशन जो देते हैं अगर वो सही बनता है तो इफ के बाद में जो ओपन एंड क्लोज पैरेंथेसिस होते हैं उनके बीच में जो कोड होता है उसको इफ ब्लॉक कहते हैं, वो इफ ब्लॉक एग्जीक्यूट होता है। अगर वो इफ में जो कंडीशन देते हैं वो अगर गलत होता है तो हमारा जो कोड एग्जीक्यूट होता है उसको हम लोग एल्स ब्लॉक कोड कहते हैं। वो एल्स ब्लॉक कोड वो होता है जो एल्स कीवर्ड के बाद जो पैरेंथेसिस देते हैं वो ओपन पैरेंथेसिस से लेके क्लोज पैरेंथेसिस तक जो कोड लिखते हैं उसको कहते हैं एल्स ब्लॉक। वो एल्स ब्लॉक एग्जीक्यूट होता है। दिस इज about your if statement and if else statement. Now we look at the next conditional control statement, that is if else if. Now once you look at this, what it will do is, so first it will try to check a condition. In the if condition it will try to check the condition. If the condition is true then it will execute that if block. If the condition is false, then it will come down to else if, where in the else if it will try to again cross check whether the given condition is validated or not. If the given condition is validated, then it will execute the else if block. If the else if block also is not satisfied, then it goes to the else block. I repeat, the block which is after your if condition is called if block. And if this particular if condition is not satisfied, then it will move to another block called else if block, which will start after writing else if with open and close parenthesis. Now open and close braces. Now whatever you put it will be kept in this particular block. The whatever the code that you run it will be called as else if block. Now after that, even if the condition given in else if is also not satisfied, then it goes to something called else block. This is how your execution will happen in something called if else if statements. Now I repeat the entire thing. अगर हम लोग यहाँ पे अगर नया कंडीशनल कंट्रोल स्टेटमेंट इफ एल्स इफ स्टेटमेंट अगर देखते हैं तो यहाँ पे एक इफ कंडीशन जो देते हैं अगर वो कंडीशन सही होता है तो हमारा कोड इफ ब्लॉक को एग्जीक्यूट करता है। अगर हमारा कोड हमारा जो कंडीशन देते हैं वो अगर सही नहीं बनता है, अगर वो गलत बनता है तो नेक्स्ट आता है एल्स इफ पे। अगर एल्स इफ पे जो कंडीशन देते हैं अगर वो सही बनता है तो वो हमारा एल्स इफ ब्लॉक एग्जीक्यूट करता है। अगर जो हम लोग कंडीशन एल्स इफ ब्लॉक में देते हैं अगर वह भी अगर सही नहीं बनता है तो हमारा कोड एल्स पे चले जाता है और हमारा कंट्रोल एल्स पे चले जाता है और एल्स में जो कोड रहता है वो कोड एग्जीक्यूट होता है। हमारे इसमें इफ एल्स इफ में और इफ एल्स में यह अंतर है, यहाँ पे एल्स इफ में हमको दो ब्लॉक रहेंगे, सॉरी इफ एल्स में हमारे दो ब्लॉक रहेंगे, इफ ब्लॉक और एल्स ब्लॉक। अगर इफ एल्स इफ में अगर देखते हैं तो तीन ब्लॉक रहेंगे, इफ एल्स इफ एंड एल्स। So if at all you look at the difference between if and if else if will have one block, sorry, two blocks, that is if block and else block, and if else if will have three blocks, that is if block and else if block and else block. If the condition is satisfied in if block, it will execute. If it is not satisfied, then the control will move to else if. Even if the else if is not satisfied, then the control will move to else. If it is the case of else, if else, then if the condition will be validated in if statement. If the condition is true, then the if block will execute. If the condition is false, then the else block will execute. मैं फिर से रिपीट कर रहा हूं, जो हमारा इफ एल्स जो होता है वो दो ब्लॉक के होता है, एक इफ ब्लॉक होता है, दूसरा एल्स ब्लॉक होता है। हमारा जो कंडीशन देते हैं इफ ब्लॉक में, सॉरी इफ स्टेटमेंट में, अगर वो इफ स्टेटमेंट में अगर सही कंडीशन निकलता है तो हमारा इफ ब्लॉक एग्जीक्यूट होता है, अगर गलत कंडीशन निकलता है तो एल्स ब्लॉक एग्जीक्यूट होता है। अगर हम इफ एल्स इफ में अगर देखते हैं तो दो नहीं बल्कि हमको तीन ब्लॉक्स होते हैं, एक होता है इफ, दूसरा होता है एल्स इफ एंड तीसरा होता है एल्स। पहला जो है इफ स्टेटमेंट, अगर वो इफ स्टेटमेंट में कंडीशन सही होता है तो इफ ब्लॉक एग्जीक्यूट होता है। अगर जो हम लोग इफ ब्लॉक में देते हैं, इफ कंडीशन में देते हैं, वो कंडीशन अगर गलत होता है तो हमारा कंट्रोल जाता है एल्स इफ पे। अगर एल्स इफ पे भी अगर हमारा जो कंडीशन है वो अगर गलत हो जाता है तो हमारा कंट्रोल एल्स इफ से लेके एल्स पे चले जाता है। दिस इज हाउ यू यूज समथिंग कॉल्ड योर कंट्रोल स्टेटमेंट्स विद द हेल्प ऑफ इफ and if else if. And then we get into something called loops. Before we get into loops, we will try to see how our if statements are utilized in programs. We'll just look at a very simple example to understand your if else and if else if. So we'll open up the new program, or we just create a new project. We take 14 version of Java and I just click on next, and I wanted to have command line app, so I just click on next. I give my project name as uh, constructs, and in the constructs I just go ahead and click on finish so that it gets started. I'll put it in new window so that it gets started in a fresh window. Now this is where I have my main class and a main method, and in the main method my program execution will start. So I write my code in the main method. So here I start writing my I start declaring my variable, say int I is equal to 21. अभी मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है, अगर मेरा जो आई वैल्यू है यहाँ पे, वॉट एवर द आई वैल्यू दैट आई हैव इट, if that is greater than 10, then I should call it as greater than 10. If it is less than 10, then I should call it as less than 10. So first I'll just go ahead and write it. If I, जो मैं यहाँ पे मैं I को चेक करना चाहता हूँ, so whenever I'm just comparing, then I use my logical operator wherein double equal to, if it is equal to 10, then मुझे क्या करना है, I'll have to check my condition. I'll just come back here and write it. I'll just open this up. I just don't put it. I'll just come back here and open the braces, and here I start writing it print it's not supporting me here, so I'll write entire thing system dot out dot println, and then I just go ahead and write it as the number is greater than 10. So I should write it as greater than 10. Now I'll write it. Now I'll just go ahead and execute it. If this particular statement is true, then it will print this block. If at all this statement is not right, if this condition is not right, then it will not execute this particular statement. If you look at if conditional statement, if this condition is true, only then it will come inside and execute this. If it is not true, then it will not come inside this. If at all you just wanted to look at this, I'll just give it as I is less than or less than 10. Now once I run this, I don't get any output. I'll not be printed with any output. Reason being, here my condition is false. When the condition is false, it will not execute this block of code. The block of code which is exactly after your if is called your if block. Now this is how you use something called if statement, if control statement. Now we wanted to see if and else block also. Whenever you wanted to use it, you take it as else. Now in the else block, once I just open it up, in the else block, if you could look at, I write it as system dot out dot println, and then just put it as the number is less than 10. Now I'll put it as greater than. If I is greater than 10, then वो अगर स्टेटमेंट सही बनता है तो ये एग्जीक्यूट होगा, अगर वो गलत होता है तो ये एग्जीक्यूट होगा. I repeat, if your if statement has a true condition, then this will execute. If your if statement has a false condition, then else block will get executed. This block which is after your else keyword is called your else block. So I just run this code now. Now once I look at, see my condition is true. 21 is greater than 10, which is a true statement. When it is true statement, obviously this gets executed. Assume if my I value is 3. If at all I execute, then it says my I value is less than 10, because my condition is false. When my condition is false, I am executing my else block. जब भी मेरा यहाँ पे कंडीशन गलत हो गया है, जब भी मेरा 3 वैल्यू ग्रेटर देन 10 दिखा रहा है, सो 3 वैल्यू तो 10 से कम है, विच मीन्स दिस स्टेटमेंट इज फॉल्स. जब ये फॉल्स हो गया है, मेरा एल्स ब्लॉक एग्जीक्यूट हो गया है. This is how you use something called your if and if else. Now we'll see the third option, that is else if. Now we write something called else if, and in the else if we again give the condition. If this I is greater than 10, then I want to give it as the number, so, or I'll put it as greater than 5. Then I'll put it as this number is greater than 5, and then I'll give it as else. Then I'll put it as, let's close this. I'll just put this as, let me just come back and write it up here, system dot out dot println, and we write it the number is lesser than 5 and 10. Obviously no. So now I give a value, say 3. Once I give the value 3 here, now once I look at this condition, यहाँ पे 3 is greater than 10, तो ये गलत हो गया. ये गलत होते ही मेरे नेक्स्ट ब्लॉक पे आएगा. वो नेक्स्ट ब्लॉक है else if. else if में फिर से कंडीशन चेक करेगा, 3 is greater than 5. 3 तो 5 से कम है, सो ये कंडीशन भी फॉल्स हो गया है। ये कंडीशन भी फॉल्स होने के वास्ते ये इफ एल्स इफ ब्लॉक एग्जीक्यूट नहीं करेगा, बल्कि हमारा ये एल्स ब्लॉक एग्जीक्यूट करेगा। आई रिपीट, if you look at this particular example, my I value is 3. I value, if whenever you look at this if statement, my I value is 3, which is 3 is greater than 10, which is a false statement. As it is a false statement, it will not execute my if block. As it is not executing my if block, it will give the control to else if block. In the else if block, when I look at 3 is greater than 5, which is a false statement. Once it is a false statement, it will not execute the else if block, but for it will execute the else block. Now we'll run and see what is being executed. अगर हम लोग देखते हैं तो हमारा वही रिजल्ट आ गया है ना। फर्स्ट ब्लॉक इज नॉट एक्सिक्यूटिंग बिकॉज इट इज नॉट ट्रू। एल्स इफ भी एक्सिक्यूट नहीं हो रहा है बिकॉज इट इज नॉट ट्रू, और एल्स हो रहा है बिकॉज लास्ट ऑप्शन वही बचा हुआ है। So this is how we have got if, else if and else statements running in this particular program, right? This is how we make use of something called if else if, and if else if and else, right? Now we just look at the loops in Java programming. Now these loops are called looping construct statements, as conditional statements were called as conditional construct statements. Similarly, the conditional control statements, similarly we call this as looping control statements. The looping control statements that we have it as for loop, while loop and do while loop. I repeat, we have three looping statements: for loop, while loop and do while loop. If at all you look at this for loop is a loop which gets executed for number of times. Loop यानी क्या समझते हैं loop में? Which repeats, वो रिपीट होते जाता है। एक ही स्टेटमेंट को अगर दोबारा दोबारा एग्जीक्यूट करना चाहते हैं तो हम लोग फॉर लूप या वाइल लूप या डू वाइल लूप का यूटिलाइज करते हैं। जितने भी यहाँ पे लूपिंग स्टेटमेंट्स है, वो लूपिंग स्टेटमेंट्स यूज करके एक ही स्टेटमेंट को मल्टीपल टाइम्स अगर एग्जीक्यूट करना चाहते हैं तो हम लोग लूप्स यूज करते हैं। वो लूप को कब स्टार्ट करना है, कब एंड करना है, वो सब कुछ ध्यान से करने के लिए हम लोग ये तीनों मैकेनिज्म यूज करते हैं। वो तीनों मैकेनिज्म है फॉर लूप, व्हाइल लूप एंड डू व्हाइल लूप। आई एम जस्ट रिपीटिंग इट। While using looping control statements, we have three different options that are available: for loop, while loop and do while loop. For loop is a looping statement where it will execute. All these three looping statements are used in order to execute one statement for multiple times in a given program. So you write it for one time and execute it for n number of times. Then we use these looping statements. For, while and do while, all three of them are used for same purpose. But yes, there will be some difference in using all three of them. It is to understand how many times a statement should be looped, how many, when to start, when to stop this loop. For all of these kind of things, we use three mechanisms, that is for loop, while loop and do while loop. Now we just go ahead and see how this for loop is working. Now if at all you look at for loop, this is an example that we have it. For loop will have the syntax as for followed by initialization. यानी कि how many time where from where I should start my loop, that initialization is given here. And then condition, till this condition is true, my loop will rotate. I repeat, my initialization will say from where I should start my loop, and condition says till this condition is true, my loop will continuously execute. An increment or decrement operator is used to run for multiple times. To run it for next values, we are to run it for before values, yani prior values, we make use of your increment and decrement operators. If at all you look at the syntax of your for loop, it will be having initialization component, condition component and a decrement or an increment operator. अगर ये फॉर लूप अगर हम लोग देखते हैं तो फॉर लूप में तीन चीजें होते हैं। ये होते हैं, फर्स्ट वन होता है इनिशियलाइजेशन, सेकेंड वन होता है कंडीशन, एंड थर्ड वन होता है इंक्रीमेंट और डिक्रीमेंट ऑपरेटर। जब हम लोग ये फॉर लूप यूज करते हैं तो फॉर लूप कहाँ पे कौन से वैल्यू पे स्टार्ट करना है वो समझने के लिए इनिशियलाइजेशन यूज करते हैं। एंड उसके बाद दूसरा जो है कंडीशन, जब तक ये कंडीशन सही रहेगा तब तक हमारा लूप रोटेट होते एग्जीक्यूट होते रहेगा। एंड तीसरा, नेक्स्ट वैल्यू जाने के लिए या फिर प्रीवियस वैल्यू को जाने के लिए हम लोग इंक्रीमेंट या डिक्रीमेंट ऑपरेटर यूज करते हैं ताकि प्रीवियस वैल्यू या नेक्स्ट वैल्यू पे जा सके। That's how we use something called for loop. Now, this for loop is a kind of a loop which executes till your condition becomes false. That's one important thing that you should remember. And the second important thing that you should remember is you should understand that when this condition is going to get as a false statement, if your condition is not being false in any of the scenarios, then it will be a never ending loop. Your program will never stop. It will continuously loop and execute the same statement for infinite number of times. So which means the program will get into an infinite loop. I repeat, वॉट एवर जितना जो हम ये फॉर लूप में देख रहे हैं, फॉर लूप में ये ध्यान ध्यान रखना चाहिए कि हमारा जो कंडीशन हम दे रहे हैं वो कंडीशन बहुत ध्यान से दे दे ताकि एक ना एक जगह में वो कंडीशन फॉल्स हो जाए। अगर वो कंडीशन फॉल्स नहीं होता है, अगर वो कंडीशन फॉल्स नहीं होता है तो हमारा लूप कंटिन्यूअसली एग्जीक्यूट होता ही जाएगा, वो इनफाइनाइट टाइम्स रोटेट होते ही जाएगा, वो कंटिन्यूअसली रोटेट होता जाएगा। एंड यू नेवर स्टॉप योर प्रोग्राम, आपका प्रोग्राम स्टॉप नहीं होता है, वही स्टेटमेंट दोबारा एग्जीक्यूट होते ही जाता है। So you should be very careful that you don't land up in something called infinite loop. You should be very clear on this particular condition whenever you are using your for loop. Now we look at the second loop called your while loop. While loop is again a looping control statement wherein this particular statement will first check condition. If the condition is true, then it will execute. It will execute for number of times. If till your condition is becoming false, it executes continuously till the statement become false. Now in this particular while statement, you never have to initialize or will have to increment or decrement in the conditional statements. As in, like, you have three parameters in for loop, you don't have multiple parameters here, you have only one single parameter called condition. I repeat, you have to give only condition in your while loop. सो अगर हम लोग ये वाइल लूपिंग कंट्रोल स्टेटमेंट अगर देखते हैं तो ये वाइल लूपिंग स्टेटमेंट जो होता है वो बस एक ही पैरामीटर लेता है, वो पैरामीटर है कंडीशन। अगर वो कंडीशन सही होता है, अगर वो कंडीशन हम लोग जो देते हैं अगर वो सही होता है तो हमारा कंट्रोल वो लूप के अंदर चले जाता है, वो ब्लॉक के अंदर चले जाता है और वो कंटिन्यूअसली एग्जीक्यूट होते जाता है। वो जितने भी अगर कंडीशंस हम लोग यहाँ पे स्टेटमेंट्स में देते हैं वही स्टेटमेंट एग्जीक्यूट होते जाता है। वो तब तक एग्जीक्यूट होता है जब तक हमारा कंडीशन फॉल्स ना हो जाए। So it is very, very important for us that we ensure that the statements are resulting in in such a way that after some time your condition is becoming false. If your condition is not becoming false, as we have seen in for loop, your while loop will also get into an infinite loop. एक ही loop multiple times rotate होता जाएगा. This is how you have something called your while loop. That's your for loop and this is your while loop. Now we look at the next one, the third one called do while. Now this do while looping control statement is a looping statement where it will first execute the statements. यहाँ पे जो do के अंदर जो statements है वो execute हो जाएंगे. Execute होने के बाद, जब भी वो एक बार execute होने के बाद अगर हमारा statement हमारा condition गलत होता है तो हमको फिर से वापस do पे जाने का जरूरत नहीं पड़ता है. सो जब तक हमारा कंडीशन कंडीशन सही रहेगा वो पहले डू करेगा, बाद में वाइल पे आके कंडीशन चेक करेगा, फिर से डू पे जाएगा, स्टेटमेंट एग्जीक्यूट करेगा, फिर से वाइल पे आएगा, कंडीशन चेक करेगा, फिर से डू पे जाएगा. सो दैट्स हाउ डू वाइल करते जाएगा. डू में एग्जीक्यूट करेगा, वाइल में चेक करता रहेगा. This is how your looping control state do while looping control statement will work. If you look at this do while conditional looping state, sorry, do while looping statement, do while will work in such a way where first do will execute the block of statements, and after that it will go to while and check for the condition. So it will continuously check for the condition at the end, where it first execute the statements and then come to while and check the condition. Again it goes to do and executes the statements and then comes to while and checks the condition, again goes to do for executing the statements. This is how your do while statements work. If you look at, there is one important thing that we should note it, that is your looping statements, that is your for, while and do while, again can be categorized into two, that is your entry control loops and exit control loops. If you look at entry control loop, यानी loop से जाने से पहले control करने के लिए we have two things available, that is your for loop and your while loop. जब तक हम लोग कंडीशन चेक ना करें वो ब्लॉक के स्टेटमेंट्स जितने भी रहेंगे वो एग्जीक्यूट नहीं करेगा. आई रिपीट, you have two different things that are available do in your looping control statements. First one is entry control loop and the second one is exit control loop. जब भी entry control loop रहेगा it will check the condition at the entry, and exit control loop will check the condition at the exit. I repeat, the condition will be validated in entry control loop at the entry of the loop, and the condition will be validated at the exit in the exit control loops. This is how you work with something called your looping statements. Now we look at this with an example. So we just come back and write it. Now we write it for of, say I wanted to run my loop. रन करने के लिए मैं लिखता हूं I is equal to, or I'll take another variable j is equal to 1, or I'll give it as j is equal to 0. Now अभी तक मेरा ये j कहीं पे इनिशियलाइज डिक्लेयर नहीं किया गया है, इसलिए यहाँ पे मुझे एरर दे रहा है. सो इसको हम लोग क्या करना है, I'll call it as int j equals to 0. अभी मैं इनिशियलाइज कर लिया हूं. इनिशियलाइज करने के वास्ते मुझे यहाँ पे ये समझ में आता है मेरा लूप 0 वैल्यू से स्टार्ट होता है. आई रिपीट, आई विल हैव माई first loop rotated with a value called 0 because I'm initializing my j with a value 0, and after that I should put a semicolon, and after that the second block that we have it in for loop is your conditional statement. Now I write it, if I did not have to write it as if, I should write it as j is greater than 10. Till my value of j is greater than 10, I will execute it. And after that, I'll have to increment or decrement the value. Now in this case, I wanted to go from 0 till the value 10. Once I get 11, it should stop working because I'm giving the condition as j is greater than 10. j is greater than 10 तब होता है जब ये j का वैल्यू 11 होता है. So 10.5 तो नहीं हो पाएगा because my j is a integer value. So अभी मैं यहाँ पे लिखता हूँ j प्लस प्लस. अभी मेरा ये स्टेटमेंट हो गया है. जब भी हम लोग कंडीशनल स्टेटमेंट या फिर हमारा लूपिंग स्टेटमेंट लिखते हैं तो हमको यहाँ पे सेमीकोलन डालने का जरूरत नहीं है। हम लोग इसलिए यहाँ पे नहीं डालते हैं कि अगर यहाँ पे डालते हैं तो स्टेटमेंट खत्म हो जाता है, लेकिन हमको स्टेटमेंट खत्म नहीं करना चाहिए, हमको नया स्टेटमेंट यहाँ पे लिखना चाहिए। वी वांटेड टू स्टार्ट आवर लूप, यहाँ पे हमको लूप स्टार्ट करना चाहिए, फॉर लूप स्टार्ट करना चाहिए, इसलिए हम लोग यहाँ पे सेमीकोलन नहीं डालते बल्कि यहाँ पे ये ओपन ब्रेस और क्लोज ब्रेस डालते हैं। आई रिपीट, आफ्टर द फॉर लूप इफ एट ऑल यू पुट योर सेमीकोलन, it assumes that loop is completed here. Now we are not completed with the loop will have your block also. Now in this block we start writing our code. Now we would write it as, I'll write it as I plus plus, and then I'll just go ahead and put it as print I. अभी मैं ये करना चाहता हूं, मुझे आई वैल्यू जो 3 था वो 10 बार इंक्रीमेंट होना चाहिए। नाउ आई वांट टू इंक्रीमेंट दिस 3 फॉर 10 टाइम्स। आई वांटेड टू सी द आउटपुट आफ्टर एवरी इंक्रीमेंट, so for that I'll just go ahead and put it as system dot out dot println. Now once I have this available, I'll just go ahead and print my I value here. Once I run this, see, once I run this, I don't, it's not printing it here. System dot out dot println. And we will give the I value here. Now this for loop will rotate for n number of times and it will increment the I value and will start printing my I value for n number of times. There is something going wrong here. Let's just print and see whether it is able to print my regular statement or not. System dot out dot println. We'll try to print a value 10 and see. Yep. So now once we run this up, see, my value was false, so it is not executing it. So this j value was always false. Whenever I give it as j is greater than 10, obviously यहाँ पे greater than 10 जब दे रहा था, so मेरा I value, j value 0 था. 0 is always less than 10. So obviously वो execute नहीं हो पा रहा है, वो false होते जा रहा है। जब भी मैं इसको चेंज कर रहा हूं, जब भी मैं ये लेस देन कर दिया हूं, जब भी मैं एग्जीक्यूट कर रहा हूं, see it was printing my j value I value for 10 times, which is incrementing it for 10 times. This is how your for loop will work. Now we look at the same for loop example, same example with the help of your while statement. Now what we do, we just go ahead and write it as while I is greater than, the same I value is greater than 10, then it will have to work. Now this statement, whatever I am writing it, will be validated. Now once I come back here and just look at it, now I just go ahead and say I plus plus and then put a semicolon, and then I'll use system dot out dot println and we'll try to print the I value. In this case, whenever I run this particular statement, the same thing, instead of using that initialization declaration, sorry, initialization condition validation and increment or decrement, I am giving a condition directly over here. Whenever I check this particular condition, if this condition is true, then the loop will execute, otherwise it will not execute. Now once I write it as I greater than 10, see my I value is always what? See, whenever I give it as 3, then see 3 is always less than 10, so which will not validate. So what I'll do, I'll just write it as I is less than 10. Now I try to increment this value and this gets printed. Now it will not print for 10 times, it will print till the value becomes 10. Now once I execute and show you and make you understand, now see what is happening here. I'll write println so that the output will come into in the next line. Now it is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I'll get everything in the next line. Once you look at this, see, earlier the output was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13. So it was incremented for 10 times. That was 10 times. Here till 10. Do you understand the difference? Whenever you are working with while, you will have to know what is the upper limit and what is the lower limit. Now the lower limit is 3 and the upper limit is 10. But it was when it was with the case of for loop, we don't know what was the upper limit. Upper limit was not known. We know only the lower limit and how many times that I want to run it. If it is how many times when it is given in your question, you should make use of your for loop. If it is till what value, then you are preferable in choosing something called your while loop. Now we also look at the do while, where we just go ahead and use something called do, and in the do I'll just go ahead and increment I, and then after that I'll also just go ahead and print my I value out dot println. Now I'll print my I value here. Now after doing it, now I write my while here, and here I'll check my condition. If I is greater than 3, now I'll write it. If I is greater than 3, then it should not execute. Whenever you use your while statement, you are not supposed to do it. I mean, you are not supposed to what we call it as you are not supposed to check the condition at the beginning. You are supposed to check the condition at the end. Now once I just go ahead and run this, see, once I run this, see, it is getting into an infinite loop because my I value is always greater than 3. So it is continuously incrementing. I'll just stop this. See, if at all you look at, my output was starting from the initial I value and it is continuously being executed. Now if it is less than 3, now once we just go ahead and run this, see, I'm having only a value 4. Now if you could look at, I'm getting only a value 4 here. So once it is becoming 4, then again it is checking with the condition. If the condition is true, then it will again go to the do. If the condition is false, then it will not go to the do. In this particular case, after executing this do for one time, then we are checking the condition and stopping our loop. If at all you look at, while using something called do while looping statements, it is mandatory that at least one time your loop will execute. Even if your condition is true or false, it doesn't matter. At least one time it will execute in your code. That's something that you should remember. Your do will always execute at least one time. Right? So I again repeat all of this. You have three looping statements available. एक looping statement है फॉर दूसरा है while एंड तीसरा है do while। while और do while अगर देखते हैं तो while में क्या होता है, पहले कंडीशन चेक होता है, बाद में स्टेटमेंट्स एग्जीक्यूट होते हैं। do में पहले स्टेटमेंट्स एग्जीक्यूट होते हैं, बाद में कंडीशन चेक किया जाता है। फॉर लूप में इनिशियलाइज करके देन कंडीशन चेक करके देन इंक्रीमेंट या डिक्रीमेंट करके वो ऑपरेटर्स का वो वैल्यू वो स्टेटमेंट्स का एग्जीक्यूशन होता है। This is how you work with something called looping statements and the conditional statements. Hope I am clear with all these looping and conditional statements. So once we complete these two categories, we have a special category available called unconditional control statements. So these uncontrolled conditional statements are available in your Java, wherein even though your condition is satisfied, even though your for loop condition, whatever you gave it in your for loop, even though it satisfies, if you want to break it at a point, if you want to stop it at a point, then we use a keyword called break, which will stop your loop. Now we'll take up an example and see how it works. Now we will go with the same program. For of j equals to 0, int j equals to 0, and then j is less than 10, and then j plus plus. Now after this, I'll just start my loop. In the for loop, I want to write my code wherein I want to increment my I value, and then I want to print it. And this printing that I wanted to do it, printing that I wanted to do it here, the printing that I wanted to do it here, I wanted to do it only till the value is becoming 10. Once the value is becoming 10, say I'll write it, if I is equal to 10, then what I wanted to do is I wanted to break. I just wanted to break. I write it as break. If it is not true, यानी I value is equal to true नहीं होता है, तो हम लोग उसको क्या करते हैं, else में लिखते हैं। और else में हम लोग लिखते हैं, we'll write it as, in the else block we will write it as system dot out dot print ln, so that it comes in next line. So I'll just give it as I. So might be we might have missed some closing block, I guess. Yes. Now we just run this code. Now once we run this code, see it is executing only till 9. अभी मुझे बस 9 तक ही दे रहा है। जब 10 आ गया है, say otherwise we'll put it as greater than 10. जब भी मैं यहाँ पे लिखता हूँ greater than 10, सो जब भी मैं यहाँ पे देता हूँ ग्रेटर देन 10, तो क्या करेगा, अभी 10 तक प्रिंट करेगा और 10 के बाद वो स्टॉप कर देगा। बिकॉज जब भी ये स्टेटमेंट ट्रू होता है तो वो इफ ब्लॉक एग्जीक्यूट करना स्टार्ट कर देता है। इफ ब्लॉक में मैं ब्रेक लिखा हूं, ये ब्रेक क्या कर रहा है, ये लूप को स्टॉप कर दे रहा है। ये लूप को अगर लूप में अगर ये चेक करते हैं तो नेक्स्ट वैल्यू होगा 11। 11 तो आई से ज्यादा ही है, सो तब भी ब्रेक हो जाएगा। So this is how you work with something called break. Break is used to break your loop even though your conditional statement given in for is true, but still you can break it with the help of your break keyword that is available in your Java. Now the same thing can be used with your while statement also. The same break can be used with your while statement also. अभी हम लोग इसको while statement में कैसा यूज करते हैं, we'll just look at the example. while I is greater than while I is greater than 10. Now I just get into the loop and write it. Now I value तो कभी greater than नहीं होगा, So we should ensure that it is less than 10. Now what we'll have to ensure is I'll make it as I++ and it'll just get printed. Then I'll write it as system dot out dot println. Now we'll try to give the I value. Now in this case, whenever you run this, you get all the values starting from your value 4 till 10. Now I don't want to have the values till 10. I want to have only till 5. Then in that case, what I'll do is I'll just come here and write my if statement. If my I value is equal to 5 और आई वैल्यू इज ग्रेटर देन 5, मुझे 5 तक चाहिए इसलिए मैं ग्रेटर देन 5 लिख रहा हूं. इज ग्रेटर देन 5, देन आई वुड राइट इट, ब्रेक. नाउ इट विल स्टॉप माय एग्जीक्यूशन. नाउ बाकी के जितने भी प्रिंट होना चाहिए उसके लिए हम लोग एल्स ब्लॉक लिखते हैं और जो एल्स ब्लॉक में होता है दैट विल बी एक्सिक्यूटेड नॉर्मली. एंड इसके बाद एक क्लोज करना होगा. अभी हम लोग अभी एग्जीक्यूट करते हैं तो यहाँ पे अगर हम लोग देखते हैं तो 4 और 5 ही प्रिंट करेंगे बिकॉज 5 के बाद हमारा कंडीशन अगर चेक करते हो तो ये कंडीशन ट्रू होएगा. जब भी ये ट्रू होएगा तो ये ब्रेक एग्जीक्यूट करेगा. जब तक फॉल्स रहेगा वो प्रिंट करता जाएगा. जब ये ट्रू हो जाता है तो ब्रेक एग्जीक्यूट होएगा. जब भी ब्रेक एग्जीक्यूट होएगा तो वो लूप से बाहर आ जाएगा. दिस इज हाउ वी मेक यूज ऑफ समथिंग कॉल्ड योर break keyword. Now we just look at there is another unconditional control that is available which is called continue. Now this continue is a keyword which will continue to execute the current loop with the next iteration. It will just stop printing the current iteration. It will continue with the next iteration. That's the use of something called continue. So we'll just now look at यहीं पे instead of continue यहाँ पे instead of continue break we will start writing something called continue. Now instead of using your break we will use something called continue. Whenever we are using it, now I'll just put it as equal to make you understand. I'm putting it as equal to. Now once I run this, see, once you look at the output here, it is giving me all the values except 5. If you look at, it is giving me all the values. जब ये 3 पहले बार अगर इंक्रीमेंट होता है, whenever this 3 is incremented for the first time because of I++, now 3 will become 4. In the next iteration 4 will become 5. In the next iteration it will become 6, and it executes till this condition become false, which means till it is becoming 10 value, it continuously gives me the printed output. Now if you could look at, I couldn't get this if in the output, if you could see, I don't get 5. After 4 I am getting it as 6 because in the current iteration I have, whenever this I is equal to 5, now my statement, this particular condition is true. When this is true, obviously I will be executed with continue. My continue says I will not execute this current statement, but for I'll go and start with the next iteration. The next iteration will be sixth iteration. So this is how your continue will work. Even if you write something below this, like system dot out dot print ln, and यहाँ पे अगर I देते हो, यहाँ पे अगर I देते हो तो just a second, there is an error here. Delete unreachable statement. It is automatically telling me that I cannot reach it. See, my IDE says this cannot be reached. Once you write your continue statement, then you are not reachable. Your control will never go here. This is what it says. So you cannot write anything here, but you check in your notepad. In your notepad, if you write it, it will be permitted, but it will not be executed. Alright, the statements after the continue will not be executed in that particular block. right? This is something called your continue keyword. So with this, we complete all the flow. Or so before we start off, I would like to congratulate all of you. You have been doing really, really very, very good in your assignments, and I could see everybody doing lot of taking very, I mean being very patient. बहुत आराम से बैठ के आप बहुत अच्छी तरह से आपके नोट्स में लिख के वो प्रोग्राम वापस मुझे फोटोज भेज रहे हैं. It is really good on your part, everybody. And there are some people who are doing in your computers, properly labeling it. This is my program, this is my output. So I appreciate all of your efforts. Really good that you are taking it seriously, and we are happy that for doing such an effort, you are also putting your effort and learning the things properly. Thank you so much. Continue to do so, and we will not spend our time in looking at those three questions again. If you have any troubles, I will, however, send the solutions for all those three in today's. I mean, I will send the answers for all those three questions in your respective Kaizala groups today. Okay, and also I will also send assignment for tomorrow and day after tomorrow. As you have 2 days holidays, we will give you some more assignment today so that you can complete it tomorrow and day after tomorrow, right? So we'll now start writing our first program, first official program. Till now we have been looking at some programs which are making us to understand the concepts. Now we'll try to start writing our first program. The first program that we will see is checking whether a given integer is positive or not. We will write a program to check whether the given integer is a positive integer or a negative integer. So to go ahead and do it, now I'll try to take a variable int n. Now I want to use this int from the keyboard. I don't want to write it manually by myself. So I wanted to use it by accepting the values from the user. So as I have told you, there are multiple ways, but we will comfortably use a type called scanner. To use that scanner type, we have to use, or we have to import your util.scanner type. To use it, we'll have to write it as java.util.your scanner. This is how we write your, we try to get the support of your scanner class into your program. Once you have the support of your scanner class into your program, the next thing that you are supposed to do is you are supposed to create an object for your scanner class. Now I'll call it as sn, scanner sn equal to new scanner. Once I write it, my object Sn gets created. Now we are supposed to submit the input to the scanner. Now we give the input as system.in, which will try to take the input from the keyboard. Now this is how we use the scanner with the support of your system input. Now we'll try to give the user with an information that please enter the number. Now we'll write it as system dot out dot println, and we'll write it as please enter the number. Once it is over, I'll just put it as print so that the number can be accepted in the same line. So once I give this instruction, I'll start storing my value into my n. Now I'll write it as n equals to my scanner sn dot next int. I want to get an integer value, so I'll use it as scanner dot next int. Whenever I do this, I try to get the value from the keyboard. Once I get my value from the keyboard, now I have my value accepted as input from the keyboard. Now I'll just go ahead and check it whether it is positive or not. If it is positive, then this n should be greater than 0. If it is greater than 0, then my number, then my n will be an positive number. Now I'll just go ahead and put it as system dot out dot println, and I'll call it as the number is an sorry is a positive integer. Now similarly, once we wanted to check whether it is an odd, we'll go ahead and check it as else if. We'll call it as the number is less than 0, then it will be a negative number. Now I just come back here and put it the system dot out dot println. Now I'll call this as the number is a negative number. Now there is another third possibility also, which means it is neither positive nor negative, which means it is 0. So we'll call it as else block, and in the else block we will write it as system dot out dot println, and we'll say the input is 0. Alright, this is how we give it as your third option, that is your else block. Now if there is no error, now once we run this, then the input would be requested. Now I give the value as 10. Now once you look at, the number is positive. Now I run the same code. Now once I look at it, once I give a value 0, see the input is 0. If at all I run it again, now if at all I give it as -2, and once I run this, see the number is negative number. This is how we write a program for checking whether a number is a positive number or a negative number. Alright. Now, shall we write the similar kind of a program to check whether the given number is an even number or a odd number? To go ahead and do it, what is that we are supposed to do? Again, the accepting. So otherwise, like, I'll just keep it aside so that I can send it to you in the notepad. I'll call this as pos negative, and I'll save it. Now I'll go to the next one. We'll now try to see how do we just go ahead and work with something called your even number and odd number. I want to check whether the given number is even number or odd number. To go ahead and do it, what we will do is we'll now come back here and write it. If the number, the reading of the number will remain the same. I declare a value n, I use the scanner to read the value by using nextInt method. And now what I'll do, I'll just check whether this n value that I am reading it is modulus 2 is equal to 0. Then that particular value is called as even number. I'll write it as system dot out dot print ln. Whenever you make use of this and write it, then we'll call it as the given number is even number. Now I'll explain you the logic of this after I complete this program. Now I'll write it as else, and in the else block I'll write it as system dot out dot print ln. I'll call it as the given number is odd. Now this is how you create an even number or an odd number, or you check whether the given number is even number or odd number. If at all I give it as 10, then say it says it is an even number. Once I give it as 223, then it says it is an odd number. This is how our logic will work. That is, your to n modulus 2 is equal to 0, then it is even number, is equal to 1, then it is odd number. Now we'll just go ahead and understand this logic in detail. Now if at all you look at this particular numbers, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now if you divide this particular number by 2, that is 1 by 2, then once you divide it, then what will be the value? So if at all you look at it like your regular division, if you look at it like your regular division, that is, I have my 1 which is divided by 2. Once I divide it, 2 is divided by 2 is sorry 1 is divided with 2. Whenever you divide it for 0 number of times, once you multiply your 2, then it becomes 0 and you are left with something called 1. So this becomes your quotient and this becomes your remainder values. Now once you look at it, two zeros are 0 and you get 1 as your remainder. Now if at all you give it as 2 by 1, then the outcome is 0.5 because you take your decimal values. Yani once you borrow some values and divide it, then it becomes your 10, and once you divide it, then it will be 5 times. That is 0.5 will be your result. Now if you could look at, if at all you are talking about only integers, then in this particular case your remainder is 1 and your quotient is 0. And similarly, whenever you are dividing your 2 by 2, whenever you are dividing your 2 by 2, in this case if at all you make this as 2, then we'll have it as 2 ones are 2 and you will get a remainder as 0. Now which means your remainder is 0 and your quotient is 1. Now in the next case, if at all you look at, that is 3 is divided by 2. In that case, when the 3 is divided by 2, in that case, if at all you look at, whenever I call it as 3, then 2 ones are 2 and you will get a remainder as 1. So in this case, you will get the remainder as 1 and also the quotient as 1. And for the next time, if at all you look at, whenever you divide your 4 by 2, then in this case, whenever you give it, I'll take the new one. Whenever you divide your value, that is, whenever you have your 4, whenever this is, I'm sorry, yeah, 4. Whenever you divide it with 2, then 2 twos are, then it becomes your 4, and then you get the remainder as 0. Now in this case, if at all you look at, the kind of remainder is 0 and the quotient values, if you could look at it, it is 2. Similarly, for the next value, that is 5 by 2, then in this case, if at all you look at, the remainder value is 1 and the quotient value is 2. Now, if you look at, forget about this particular series for the time being, look at only this series. See, this series is always giving you 1010 as reminders. So if at all you look at, if you take even the example, say after so many numbers, even I take an example as 225. Whenever your 225 is also divided, if you could look at it, whenever you divide your 225 with your 2, whenever you divide it, see, whenever you look at your 225 when it is divided by your 2, then see what will be the output. Whenever you divide all of these things, you will be left with 5. And whenever you want to divide your 5, then it should be 2 times. When you divide it for 2 times, then the remainder that you get will be 1. So if you could look at it, the entire division that you are doing it here, which is 112.5, if at all you divide it, you will get it as 112, where you will have a quotient as 1. Now, if you could look at in this example, you have it something like your remainder as 1 and your quotient value was 112 or something. So if you could look at all the time, whenever you divide any number by 2, you have two sets of reminders called your 1 and your 0. Now the same thing, if at all, if the same series of numbers, if they are divided by 3, which is 1 divided by 3 and 2 divided by 3 and 3 divided by 3, if at all you do it, then the reminders will be, this remainder will be 1 and this remainder will be 2 and this remainder will be 0. This remainder will be again 1 and this remainder will be again 2 when you are dividing this by 3, which means whenever you are dividing a number with 2, you will get the remainder either 0 or 1, and whenever you divide a number by 3, then you will get the reminders as 2, then 1 and then 0 when you divide it by 3. Similarly, when you divide something by 4, then it will be 3, 2, 1, 0. When you divide any number by 4, the possible reminders are only these. Beyond this, you don't get any number. So, which means if you divide any number by n, then you will get n minus 1 reminders. Right? This is what I wanted you to know. See, if at all you divide a number by 3, then you get the number of values. So the number of reminders would be only 3. The number of reminders would be 3. And their values would start from 0 to n minus 1. If you could look at, for 2, you have 2 reminders, 0 and 1. For 3, you have 3 reminders, 0, 1 and 2. Whenever you have 4, you have 4 reminders, 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. When you divide any number by n, then you get n reminders and the values would be from 0 to n minus 1. This is what you should remember. Most of the time we feel whenever somebody says even odd program, we feel that sir, it is very easy, n modulus 2 equal to 0 even, n modulus equal to n modulus 2 is equal to 1, it is odd. Yes, it is very easy in understanding, but if you could look at this particular logic, it is very interesting logic. If you look at, अगर रेड लाइट पे अगर देखते हैं तो 3 लाइट है. In traffic signals you have 3 lights where you divide a number by 3. Whenever you divide a number by 3, if the remainder is 0, red, if the remainder is 1, orange, if the remainder is 2, green, your traffic signal program is over. Whenever the remainder is 0, in the same example, now the same example can be changed as, if this n modulus 3 is equal to 0, I call this color as green. Now after this, if at all I wanted to just have orange color also, then I'll make it as n modulus 3 is equal to 1. In this case, this becomes orange. And whenever I just come back here and put it as else, and in this case, I write it as system dot out dot print ln, and I call this as red. This is how my traffic signal logic is there. Now you put it based on your time. Once the time is incremented, then I just go ahead and get green or get yellow, or sorry, get orange or get red. This is how I work with the logic. This is how I complete my traffic signal logic also. Now I should give the input with the help of a time. If at all I give it, then I'm done. For this, as we know for loop, we'll start giving with the help of for loop. For all the 10 values, starting from 0 to 10, we'll try to see how this traffic signal logic is working. Say, I'll just go ahead and give it as for of I is, I, I call this as I, or I don't take this value from the keyboard. I don't take this value from the keyboard. I'll call it as int n equals to 0, and then I'll write it as n is less than 10, and then I plus plus. Now till the I value, sorry, n, till this n value is incremented, till this n value is incremented for 10 times, we are running this particular program. Let me just close this. There is another close that is missing, so I just closed it. Now once I run this, see, for first value it is orange, then it is red, then it is green, then it is orange. See, your traffic light का जो signal होता है, it will be in the same option, no? Red, green, orange आते जाएगा. You're done with that program. Now यहाँ पे I am taking this input from a for loop. Now I'll take it from a timer. So down the line we'll see those kind of programs also, changing the background color for first second this color, for the second next color, all that we will do it, don't worry. But initially understand, this even odd logic looks very simple, but it is not as simple as it is. There are a lot of concepts involved in this. Say, whenever you take example of boolean, boolean is a data type. अगर boolean का data type example देखते हैं तो boolean में दो ही होते हैं, true या false. Instead of that, if you use even odd logic, even में भी either even होता है या फिर odd होता है. So you can replace the entire data. Instead of using boolean values, you can start writing your even odd logic. That's the importance of this simple program called even odd. So you should be very keen about these logics, understanding why this logic is so important. So it is not that you should buy hard. Please don't ever buy hard. Don't buy hard any code. It is very easy in understanding. See, logically जैसा मैं यहाँ पे पेंट पे या फिर नोटपैड पे लिख के बता रहा था, all these mathematical operations we know, ये सब कुछ हमको पता है, लेकिन हम लोग उस एंगल में नहीं सोच रहे हैं. If you think in that particular angle, if you think with that perspective, then you understand, you can write your own programs. It's only the basic driving that I'm supposed to do. Later you can do whatever you want to do with your own programs, right? So this is what I wanted to talk to you today. And also, if you have any queries, please come back to me on the Kaizala groups. अगर कुछ question होता है तो Kaizala group में post कर लीजिएगा. Then I will come back and reply to you.